Welcome to the File Manager Configuration Guide. Now that you have File Manager installed, let's show you how to configure File Manager. You have two options to configure File Manager, one to your existing filing system and two to create a new filing system for File Manager to connect to. Let's show you how this all works. First of all, the location of where your files are stored is important. You can have your files located on a single user's computer. You can have it on a local area network, and in this diagram you see the local area network with a file server, and you'll see a remote user using a virtual private network or a VPN access into that server. It's really important, as you see here, that the same map location is for all users. So for an example, S:shared files is used on the local area network as well as the remote user that has the VPN file. This is really important for File Manager to know where to find where your files are. So if your files are sitting on that server, you need to be able to point to them from File Manager, and the path needs to be the same. You can also do this with a local server and a cloud. So if you have a remote user that's using a cloud instead of a virtual private network, again, make sure that the path is exactly the same. So if everybody's using the S:/shared files, make sure that that's the same. So that's the important part of location and where the files are stored, is that there's one path for everyone. You can have your IT people help you with this, and they can make sure that everybody's path is exactly the same, and then File Manager will have the same location for finding those files. Alright, let's configure File Manager to connect to your existing filing structure. In File Manager, up at the top, you'll see on the button bar, you'll see a little arrow to the right hand side. If you click on that, you have two areas that you can work from, the Setup and the Utilities. We'll start with the Setup first. So in Setup, you have three areas. You have the File Manager. This shows the path where the files or documents are stored for the existing client that would be on your screen. And the little checkbox here allows for the File Manager tab to be shown on the tab in the center of the screen. The next one is the scanner. You can set up your scanner, and it will use a Twain compliant scanner or a Fujitsu ScanSnap scanner. We have here the Canon LIDE 200 scanner. It's a flatbed scanner, and it automatically pulls the driver up, and we've selected that. Now if you have more than one driver, they would be listed there. You can select the scanning driver that you would like. The next setting here is for either the interface that you'd like, the quick scan interface or the enhanced. We do recommend the quick scan. It makes it faster and easy, but if you need more details, you can use the enhanced one. And then we have the image type. Most people will want to save their documents in PDF, but if you're a photographer or such and you're saving all of those files, you can have them in different formats as well. Choose the color format. Do you want it in color, grayscale, or black and white? We've selected black and white here, and we've selected the 300 dpi. And just to note that if you choose color versus grayscale versus black and white, the color will have the largest footprint size for that file. The black and white will have the smallest footprint size for that file. Alright? And then this last one is the admin tab, and the admin tab is only accessible by the ACT administrative users. So if you have an administrative account, when you log into ACT, you'll have access to this tab. This tab shows us where we are locating our files. So in this case, if I click Browse and go through here, there's our S drive, our shared file. So I click on our S drive, and I've got two folders here for our demonstration purpose. I have existing filing structure and a new file structure. So let's just go into our existing filing structure, and there's our customer documents here, and we will select those documents, or that folder, sorry. Once that's done, now we have some other choices that we can have here. At the bottom, we'll start at the bottom, blocking security levels for existing users. So browse users won't be able to change the path. restricted, standard, and managers, and the path they're referring to is this. So you can't just randomly go and change where that client files are being located, and that's all that is, just a little bit of security. The next one here is allow File Manager to automatically manage folders. Now in an existing filing structure, you may or may not want to use this, and let me describe why. Let's first of all go down and look at how the structures are set up, and then we'll come back to this. So let me just press cancel here for now. Alright, so now let's look at the structure for the files. We're going to go to our S drive, and we have their existing filing structure and our new filing structure. Now your existing filing structure, if it is like this, where all of your documents are just, your document folder, your client folders are just like this, you won't want to use the automatic feature because the automatic feature doesn't use this type of format, and I'll just show you that in a moment. How the automatic feature works is if I go back to the new filing structure, and we'll just go into our customer vendor files. It uses a to Z format to lay them out, and for numbered companies and that sort of stuff it'll put up there. But if I go to B, you'll see that it has them organized under each particular letter. And that's how File Manager will organize it if you use the auto feature. So let's go back. We'll put the auto feature on and just show you what happens when we want to connect. So first of all, what we'll do is we're going to go in here and we're going to leave it, first of all, without the auto feature. So in here, we're going to leave the auto feature off, and then we're going to connect to one of those folders. Alright, so if you look up here on the contact record, you see File Manager, you see the file here, and you'll see that it's got a little star on there, meaning that it's not connected to the filing structure at this point. Now, you can create links to the filing structure either from the contact or from the company. Now, if you are using companies, we recommend that you use it from the companies and not from the contact. Because if I've got 5 people in an organization, I'd have to do them one at a time and link them. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it from the company, and I'm going to use Black Forest Baking. All you have to do is click on the File Manager button. It'll open up the location and give us access to all the documents. And now all I have to do is click on Black Forest Baking, press Select Folder. It wants to link to all of the contacts that are attached to it. I press Yes, and now it's created the link, and it's going to open up a free-floating window. Now there's nothing in there as far as documents at this point, but if you look at the path here, sorry, I went back one. If you look at the path there, it's pointing right to the Black Forest Baking folder. So that's how easy it is to use. Now, if I go in, and we'll choose another one here, if I choose Boomers for an example, and I want to do Boomers, but this time I go into Setup, and I select the Auto feature, the Allow File Manager to Automatically Manage Folders feature, and we'll use Companies. If I use that, now watch what happens. If I click on the button, it creates the folder. Yes, it wants to link to all the people below there. Opens it up. Now the thing of it is it puts a B in front of there because it needs to, the way our system works, it wants to be able to do that. If you use the auto feature, it wants to start organizing things in A, B, C, D, and down to Z. So let's just look at the structure now to see what's happened there. We'll go to our S drive, existing file folder, customer documents, and you'll see here it's put a B here, and that's where the Boomers document is. So that's how the automatic feature works. It allows it to put that structure in. So if you're going to use your existing system, you probably don't want to use the auto feature unless you want to reorganize your documents and files to have them with the ABC system the way it is here. So that's how you set it up with an existing filing structure. Now let's show you how you can set up with a new filing structure using File Manager to help set that up, and then later you could go and migrate your existing documents into the new filing structure. But let's start off and show you how to configure that. So first of all, if you go into File Manager and you go into, we could go into Setup and go in and select the new filing structure location, but we're going to let the system do that ourselves, and we're going to allow File Manager to automatically manage folders with this new one. That makes it a lot easier. Again, productivity is what we're trying to accomplish here. So what we do is we go into the utilities area. Now the utilities area you usually use once, and you usually don't need to use it again once you've used it a single time for each of the components in here. So the first thing we're going to use is we're going to use the create the filing structure. And it's going to ask the location of where do you want to do this. We're going to put it on the S drive, and we're going to put it into the new file structure here. There's nothing in there right now, so we press select folder, and so it's going to put it into the new filing structure. We go create. So it's created the structure. We continue. It's going to actually set this up as the new location for File Manager to connect to. So it'll take the path automatically. We press finish. If you want to watch the video on here, you can, to see what's going on as far as the contacts and companies. And then we press finish, and it's all set up and ready to go now. So if I go now to my companies and I want to create some links from my companies, create the links now to the new structure, I could go into Ace Pet Store, and if we just click on just to have a look at the setup now, you'll see the path is pointing to the new structure, operations, customer and vendor files. So we put all of our customer and vendor files in the same location, and we have it automatically create. So now all I do for Ace Pet Vegetation or Ace Pet Store Franchises, my apologies, is just click on the button. Automatically will go into there and create it, and you'll see that it's grabbed the A and automatically put Ace Pet Store Franchises in there. And away you go. Now you can drag your documents in, scan your documents, put all your documents in. Now we could go through each one of these one at a time, and it's linked them all automatically. When I've done that, you'll see that the file folder changes from the one with a star to the little paper, so now we know that there's a link there. And if I click on Jim Curtis, you'll see here that his is also set up, and it's got files in there. And if I click on the File Manager tab now, and there's nothing in here, but you can see the path of where it's located. Very simple, very easy to use. So let's go back up to the companies. Now, I want to set this up, but I don't want to take all the time going through each one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another piece in the utilities, and I'm going to create folder links for all the companies. So it's going to go through and create those links automatically for me and save me a bunch of time. So I'm going to do all companies. I could do current lookup if I want, but I'm going to do all the companies. I go yes, go ahead, and yes, it's going to link all the people in there, all the contacts to it as well at the same time, and it's all been done. So now when I click on Circle Photography, you'll see that there's a File Manager link there. If I click on the File Manager tab, there's the path under Circle Photography. So it's automatically gone through and set everybody up the way we need to. So now if I go down to Black Forest Baking, you'll be able to see all the documents that are attached either in the tab, or again, if I want to use the free floating window to be able to access them, I can there as well. And if I go to the contact, which also has access to it, you'll see also that the documents are there. I can scan more documents in. I can email a document out to that client. I can create a new folder, call it test. And you've seen this you'll see this on the how to use part of it. All right, so there's a few more things to configure here. Let's go back up to our companies. So under utilities, we have another feature that we have. So this one here creates the file structure. This one creates the links for all of the contacts or companies, depending upon what you're doing, to link to that structure. If by some chance your IT people have moved your documents to a new server with a new location, with a new path, you can actually change the path of that location. And it's as easy as choosing all companies, choosing the old path, putting the new path, browsing to the new path, and pressing update. And there's lots of instruction right here on how to do that. But we're not going to do that right now. What we're going to do is in the utilities we have another feature called Migrate Documents. So here we are on Parsley Group, and you'll see that there are some documents attached to ACT. There are two ways to attach documents. One's a file and one's a shortcut. We want to not use this anymore because this isn't the best way of using or managing documents, and File Manager is replacing this Documents tab. Some of them are shortcuts like this one here. Some of them are attached actually to the database, and that can bloat the size of the database. So we have some clients that have 9 gigs worth of backup, and just about all of that is documents attached. So what we want to do here is we want to move those documents and put them into our file manager. So the easy way to do that, and let's just go back to our Documents tab, is under the File Manager utility, we're going to migrate documents. Now I can use all companies, current lookup, current company. I'm going to do all companies. I think we only have a few done up anyway. So I'm going to migrate all of those over. Oh yes. Goes through all of them. It says one document was successfully migrated over, and one was not being able to use because it could not be detected any longer. So this, for some reason, this path had actually been moved to someplace else, and that's why it wasn't there. So sometimes you lose these links, and that's one of the reasons we want to move the stuff over. Now, if you're going to do documents on the contact, you need to do them on the company. You need to do them on the contacts as well, because they in ACT, they are not exactly the same. So when I have documents attached, let me just find, if I've got documents attached to companies, I can't click on the contact and see the ones under the company, where File Manager will allow me to do that. So I want to move this one as well. I can go up to, again, to File Manager, Utilities, Migrate Documents. I'll do all documents, or all contacts, sorry. Goes through all of them. And there was one move, then you can see it's no longer in the Documents tab. I go to File Manager, and there are the two that we pulled in. Very simple and easy. So to recap, you can use your existing filing system. You may not want to use the auto feature to create because it uses an A to Z format to save them. If you aren't happy with the filing structure you have, File Manager can create a new structure for you, and then you can drag all of your old documents and put them in the proper location once you've used the utilities to set it all up. So let's quickly review here. Setup. You have 3 areas. File Manager. This shows the path for the existing client that you're on or company. File Manager shows the tab. Scanner allows you to set up all the scanning preferences to scan. The Admin tab is available only to the administrators, and you select the path to where your documents are stored. Allow File Manager to automatically manage the folders, so it'll create the folders for you automatically, and I highly recommend that. And again, if you're using your existing one, you can still use this, but just understand it's going to set it up wherever it's pointing. It's going to create an A, B, C, D folder structure for it to put those documents in, and you may have to do some migrating. But once you've got it set up in here, it'll work really nice and clean and easy. And then the last thing that we have is our utilities, which allows us to do several things. Create a file folder structure, create a folder links to all contacts or companies depending upon what you're using. And we recommend, if you are using companies, that you use go into the company table and do this. Change the folder path, and this is something that you'd probably very rarely use, but it's there if needed. And then to migrate all the documents that are currently attached to the ACT database, either through a shortcut or to the database itself, and migrate all of those documents, or move all of those documents, get them out of there and get them into the file structure. And that will also reduce the size of the database backup when you do that. And that's it for File Manager. Very simple and easy to use. Just a little bit of planning, knowing where your documents are going to be located. Are you going to use your existing structure or create a new one? Then configure everything to be able to work within the environment you have set up.